Hello everyone, hope all are doing good. So today the topic which I'll be discussing is the privatization in India, how this privatization drive has benefited Indian economy and in what are the forms we have adopted this privatization as a part of our economic reforms policy that had been adopted in the year 1991. So let's start the topic as you can see. But before going into the topic, I want to bring your attention that please do like and subscribe the videos. If you have got any doubt, you may comment in the comment sections. If any suggestions is there for improving the video, please do comment. Your suggestions and opinions are valuable to make this video and to make this channel more productive from the students' point of view. So if you see the privatization in India, privatization means, as I've already discussed in my previous video, where it's the privatization has been discussed in the argument forms whether privatization is good or bad. So you see here, if privatization basically it implies the process which leads to transfer of ownership of public sector enterprises from government to the private sector. So what is happening under privatization drive, that your public sector shares have been sold out to the private sector. So when India got independent, that time the huge investment, the huge capital which required to be invested for that public sector enterprises were given emphasis. Government, state government, central government, they come forward and take up the responsibility of doing the huge investment in order to bring some development and at least make the economy at a growing earlier. What happened now, the economy was totally stagnant, the growth was very slow. To make the economy growing, moving, right? So public sector makes the huge investment, but slowly gradually it was seen, or it has been observed, that the public sector enterprises started running into huge losses. They started incurring huge losses. Now to overcome these huge losses, the idea that have struck, because there is a period in the in year 1990s when the balance of payment crisis was high. That means India's liability to pay has become very high. Our fiscal deficit were widening, and the economy was not in a good position to sustain. So it has been advised, and it has been after a lot of brainstorming that time, under the Narsimhan committee it has been chalked out that let's begin with this LPG policy, like liberalization, privatization and globalization. Under privatization, it has been decided that this loss making units must be sold to the private sector, because private sector, the aim of this private sector is to maximize their profit. So they know how to do the work systematically with keeping the cost under control, right? So this way, if you see the policy of privatization and what are the forms which have been adopted in India, the first is policy of de-reservation. Then you see here in the second is revival of sick public sector enterprises. Then you see in the third, providing financial and managerial autonomy to Maharatnas, Navaratnas and Mini Ratnas. Then fourth, it's voluntary retirement scheme, and the last is policy of disinvestment. So under these 5 cases, you see India has adopted this privatization. Then the policy of de-reservation, where de-reservation says that the government's asset has been sold 100% to the private sector. Revival of sick public sector enterprises. Sick here means sick in the sense that those public sector enterprises started running under huge losses, no profit was coming up. Then the third is providing financial and managerial autonomy. This one is very important. The reason, see, under public sector enterprises has been divided, has been categorized into Maharatnas, Navratnas and Mini Ratnas based on their profit earning capacity and based on their past performance of the profit. So they have been categorized in Maharatna, Navratnas and Mini Ratnas, and they are given financial and managerial freedom to take up the decisions accordingly, to run the sectors, to run the enterprises more profitably without incurring losses, whatever the decisions is required. Earlier what used to happen, government interference was much, bureaucratic process was there. This has lessened a lot. which makes the decision making easy and can be done in less time, right? So lesser timing gives you more productivity, that gives you more space to do work and bring out the output. Then lastly, if in the fourth point, you see the voluntary retirement scheme. Here what happened, the retiring and the aging employees are given voluntary retirement scheme option, that you take the retirement before their age. Usually retirement goes by 60 years, but those whose performance was not up to date and those employees who were sick and whatever may be the reason, their work efficiency has been reduced, so government started giving up them option that this voluntary retirement scheme, voluntary means at discretion, apni ichha se, right? So this voluntary retirement, they were given all that due amount and whatever the dues to be given by the company to the employees have been given before their age of retirement. Actual age of retirement, that means if actual age is 60, some of the employees may choose it at the age of 45, 50, right, like this. Then the fifth is the policy of disinvestment has already been discussed in the last video, where again the assets has been sold and shares have been sold, but not 100%. It can be 49%, 50%, 51%. That's a disinvestment. Then you see here de-reservation. So as you can see here, I have chalked out the very important points over here, that India has opened up its economy since 1991. This open up its economy, that means Indian economy started selling and doing this foreign transactions, foreign trade, right? So through the forward looking policy by which led to delicensing of items over the years, the items reserved for manufacture by the MSE. What is MSE over here? See, if you this MSME, I will be making one more video specifically on this, that there I will be explaining you more. This medium scale enterprises and small scale enterprises, these are the sectors. So de-reservation here, many of the goods which have been delicensed, or for that the production, for the production purposes, medium sector enterprises are given that responsibility to produce the goods, and their item of goods, as you can see here, have been reduced from 800 to 20. And what are those 20 items? This you can see here: pickles and chutneys, then bread, mustard oil, groundnut oil, wooden furniture and fixtures, exercise books and registers, wax candles, laundry soap, safety matches, fireworks, agarbattis, glass bangles, steel almirah, rolling shutters, steel chairs, steel tables, steel furnitures, padlocks, stainless steel utensils, domestic utensils, aluminium. So you see here this total the items earlier they were used to be 800, which has now been reduced to 20, and these 20 items are given responsibility to medium sector enterprises to produce all these things. Then we will talk about this Maharatnas. You remember here we have seen here that providing financial and autonomy in the third point, Maharatnas, Navratnas and Miniratnas. So we're gonna discuss this Maharatna. So in India there are right now 8 Maharatnas. Total 8 Maharatnas. And what are the qualifications or requirements to be required to get under the category of Maharatna? So you see here I have made a few boxes over here, that it should be listed on the bourses means stock exchanges. Then their average turnover should be 25,000 crore, then average net profit should be 5,000 crore, average net worth should be 15,000 crore, and should be a Navratna PSU. So to become a Maharatna, first they have to be Navratna, and following these are the conditions. If they fulfill all these 3 conditions along with the Navratna status, then they can become Maharatna. So as 8 Maharatnas are there, so all the names are given over here, like your Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Coal India Limited, GAIL Limited, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, NTPC Limited, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, Steel Authority of India Limited, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. So these are the categories of 8 Maharatnas in India. Then you see the Navratnas. So Navratnas, we have 16 Navratnas. Maharatna is 8 and just a double 16 Maharatnas. What are the Navratnas? Bharat Electronic Limited, Container Corporation of India Limited, Engineers India Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, National Aluminium Company Limited, then NMDC Limited. Ship. Then ninth is here, National Building Construction Corporation Limited, Navali Lignite Corporation Limited, Oil India Limited, Power Finance Company Limited, Corporation Limited, Power Grid of India Limited, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited, Rural Electrification Limited. So you see here total, and the lastly 16th is Shipping Corporation of India Limited. So total we have 16 Navratnas, and these are the names given over here. Then here it's the Mini Ratnas. So currently we have 75 Mini Ratnas. So it is not required to remember all those 75 names. What is important is a Mini Ratna is that they have been categorized into two groups. Like category 1, they made a profit for the last 3 years continuously or earned a net profit of 30 crores or more in one of these 3 years. That means in the last 3 years their net profit should be 30 crore or more. So you see here under category 1 we have got only 60 companies working, and under category 2, as you can see here, these companies have made profits continuously for the last 3 years. They're making the profit for the last 3 years, and there are 15 such companies in this category. So total 75 out of 75, 60 companies belongs to category 1. And what qualifies for the category 1, that in the last 3 years their net profit should be 30 crore or more than that. And if you see in the category 2, their last 3 years they should be making profit, and with the 15 companies, 15 set, and the category total is 15 companies in this category. So as you see here, so policy of de-reservation, here we have discussed about that 20 because items has been reduced from 800 to 20. Then providing financial Maharatnas, Navratnas and Mini Ratnas. Okay, there is one point, Sikh public sector enterprises. So for revival of Sikh public sector, many laws have been formed, right? So NCLT laws, and those laws actually is not the part of the syllabus of class 11th. So I'm not discussing over here. Otherwise laws, for just for your knowledge, for revival of Sikh public sector, certain laws have been made. And for the voluntary retirement scheme, these schemes options are given to the employees, and their gratuity and PF, whatever amount due, they are paid, they paid off once they opt this schemes. And policy of disinvestment, as I already mentioned, that they are the selling of shares of public sector to private sector, but less than 100%. So this is how the privatizations in India has been adopted. I hope you have understood, and if you have got any doubt, please do comment on the comment box, and do like and subscribe the video. Thank you.